Hi, lovelies. I'm Queen Lovely. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I wanted to come on here. I'm really going to try to make sure that this video isn't too long, but I will have timestamps. So make sure you look to the comments in the description box for that. I wanted to come on here and talk about this Issa Rae and Amanda Seales stuff from an astrological perspective. If you want to hear just my raw commentary, make sure you look to my most recently uploaded video before this where I give a detailed breakdown and timeline of the nature of Amanda and Issa's relationship per Amanda Seales conversation that she had yesterday on the Club Shay Shay podcast hosted by Shannon Sharp. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, comment below, let me know what you think. And if you are new here, subscribe, hit and enable that notification bell. And if you would like to book a personal interpretation from an astrological standpoint or have a personal consultation with me, feel free to shoot me an email or you could just click my booking site and book directly there. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen so that y'all can follow along as I go through this. And thank you so much for watching. Okay. So Amanda Seales, we're going to start with her. So there were a few things that stood out to me with Amanda Seales. Amanda Seales is a Cancer sun and moon, and she has an exact conjunction at the 9th degree. And this is placed in her 10th house. So we're going to spend some time with this placement because I want y'all to listen to me very closely. This is very important when it comes to a lot of things that she said yesterday. First and foremost, sometimes having your sun and or your moon in Cancer can be a detriment, because I often find as a professional astrologer, and then just from having experiences with people that have one or both of these placements, is that these are individuals that go through cases of being emotionally neglected and let down in some sense. And if anybody is not there to buffer those experiences with wisdom, and then to check back in to make sure that that wisdom is being applied in a way that's good for said individual, you can evolve into a person similar to Amanda Seales, where you're unable to step outside of how you are processing these experiences that you're on the receiving end of, where you feel like your emotional needs and not even 100% feel your emotional needs are not being met. Because the reality is, can't nobody tell you you just feel like your emotional needs are not being met. You know when your emotional needs are not being met. Okay. So I notice that a lot when I see people have a Cancer sun or a Cancer moon or even both. From a very early age, they dealt with some form of emotional neglect, whether it's at home or whether it's out in social settings. And again, if they are not able to accumulate the tools to honor their experience, stand in their experience, but process it in a way where that experience is not repeating throughout their life the way Amanda conveyed it to be for her. And this is a woman who's 43, 44. This is what you have. Then you have to look at it with the numerology now. She has this conjunction, right? At the exact degree in which her sun and moon sit at the 9th degree. 9 is a very aggressive number because it's associated with the planet Mars. Mars deals with conflict, it deals with arguments, it deals with war, it deals with aggression, violence, passion, quick movement, all of that. So this also can speak to the fact that she's been on the receiving end of those qualities, but she also exudes those qualities inwardly and outwardly when expressing and when processing. Okay. And then you look at the environment that this is happening in, which is the 10th house. The 10th house is home to the opposite sign that's sitting here, which is Capricorn. Capricorn and Cancers are opposites. Cancer is about comfort and familiarity and emotional investments and connections, and Capricorn is about suffering. Capricorn is about independence, isolation, getting to the nitty gritty. Cancer gives you what you want. Capricorn gives you what you need or what it thinks that you need. And it's our job to find a middle ground between that. So for her to have Cancer in the 10th house, that's already confusing. Like it's very confusing. And this is why I always tell people when it comes to astrology is contradicting. It's very contradicting. And it's what you do with your free will and the tools and wisdom and knowledge that you accumulate that will help you find your personal middle ground when it comes to figuring out how to work with all of this energy. So that's one thing that I could see. Yeah, I could see it. The second thing is her Mercury at the 26th degree of Gemini. Let's start with this. Mercury naturally governs over Gemini. So Mercury in Gemini does well because Mercury deals with the small picture, and so does Gemini. When Mercury is in Sagittarius, that's when it's at a detriment because Sagittarius is about the big picture and the overall message, and Mercury's the details. However, Amanda has this on retrograde. Now, what happens when Mercury goes into retrograde? Now imagine living with that shit your whole life in Gemini. Boom. And she has that what? In the 10th house, conjunct her midhaven. So let's talk about this. First and foremost, that 26th degree numerology breaks down to an 8. That Saturn energy and that Scorpio energy. Amanda's intellectual processing is very intense, but it's also restrictive because Saturn deals with limitations and restrictions. So this also comes back to her getting a diagnosis of being on the spectrum when it comes to how she processes, which is her being autistic. So you take that, and that's forming a conjunction as well to her midhaven. Your midhaven in your birth chart is the highest point in your birth chart. If you strive towards integrating the qualities that's on your midhaven, it puts you in alignment for material success. Why? Because the midhaven, the 10th house, which is all connected, that's Capricorn energy, and it's all about the material world. It's all about the material success, okay? So she has this retrograded Mercury, which deals with how she thinks and how she speaks, conjunct her midhaven, which deals with her reputation and her legacy. And when something is in retrograde, but specifically Mercury, what is that? Miscommunication, misunderstanding, misinterpretation. Baby girl, this is why you misunderstood. It's literally written in the stars for you to be misunderstood. And dare I say, and this is just a suggestion because I am not God, I'm just a vessel on behalf. Dare I say that when it comes to how do I say it? Dare I say that when it comes to like her having this sun, moon, and the 10th house conjunct, Cancer is about attachment. Capricorn is about healthy detachment. And I feel like in this lifetime, Amanda is supposed to learn how to have a healthier relationship with her ego, which is that sun, and her emotions, which is that moon, which is why it's placed in the 10th house. Because having your moon and sun in that 10th house, this speaks to you not getting the emotional support that you think that you deserve. This speaks to you not getting that familiarity and that comfort that you think that you deserve because the environment in which you're looking for it, it's cold and callous. God damn, I swear astrology is going to tell it all the time. Okay? And then we have that Mars. We have that Mars, right? Her Mars is at the 18th degree of Gemini, which creates a conjunction to her Mercury, and it creates a conjunction to her midhaven. So Mars on your midhaven, and what did I just say? Mars deals with aggression. It deals with conflict. It deals with war and all of that stuff. Having Mars conjunct your midhaven, once again, this is why people think she's combative. This is why people receive you to be so combative. And it's interesting because what do I always tell y'all? People like to say, oh, Aquarians are the rebels of the zodiac and blah, blah, blah. And I get that, right? Because they're co-ruled by Uranus, and Uranus is all about, pulling the rug from underneath you and effing ish up so that we could put it back together. But if you lean into that Saturn energy, you kind of restrict yourself from that Uranus energy, because once again, Saturn is all about upholding what's already in place and what we know to work. Whereas Uranus is like, I don't care if we know that this works. We're still going to try to see if it's going to work this way. It's worth, stepping into the unknown, even if it looks messy, than staying in the known. But there really is no revolutionary progress being made. Whereas with Gemini ain't never, with a capital N, and I will stand on this. This is my professional astrological opinion based off of research and just experience. Gemini ain't never give a fuck. Gemini sun, Gemini rising, Gemini moon, Mercury ain't never give not one fuck. And that's why I say Geminis are the true rebels that rumble in the zodiac, because those are the individuals that I've observed, sun, moon, and rising, that can withstand standing alone, even if they wrong. Azealia Banks, Gemini sun. Kanye West, Gemini sun. 50 Cent, Gemini moon. Okay? They don't give an F. And I find it interesting because I feel like, Amanda, this is what you're supposed to be working towards, baby. You're supposed to be learning how to stand in your authenticity, even if it means standing alone. But this is where things get really interesting for her. This is where things get really interesting. She has her Venus at the 2nd degree of Leo. And it creates what? An exact conjunction to this North Node at the 2nd degree in Leo. Okay? Where? In that 11th house. Now, what's interesting about this is the 11th house is home to the opposite sign of Leo, which is Aquarius. The same way, if you look over here to her 5th house, this is the home of Leo, but you got Aquarius sitting here. So what's interesting about this is she has a Leo North Node conjunct her Venus in the 11th house, which deals with friendships, networks, groups, organizations that you're a part of, but most importantly, hope and wish fulfillment. And this actually speaks to, from a very early age, her being a child entertainer, her having proximity, her mother, her father, her parents having proximity to connections to be able to get her to these auditions and so on and so forth. So with her having all of these creative talents, right? Because Leo deals with creativity and artistic expression, one of the many things that's attached to Leo. And that Venus being there, and Venus is our pleasure. It's our relationships. It also can deal with comfort to a certain degree, right? With her having this conjunction at the 2nd degree, number 2 is all about collaboration. It's all about collaboration. I know Leo on the North Node kind of calls for you to say, fuck those niggas, fuck those friends, right? Because you have Aquarius on the South Node, and Aquarius deals with friends, but you have it at the 2nd degree in the 11th house of friends and acquaintances and networks and groups. So this speaks to, even if you know what you know and know that you know it, you don't gotta dumb or water yourself down, but just be willing to share that information in a collaborative way, in a heart-centered way that's less on the egotistical side. Okay? It's also no mistake, right? She has a stellium in the 1st house. She got a stellium in this 10th, 9th house. She got a few things rocking in this 11th house. Very similar chart to me. In this lifetime, Amanda, baby, I hate to break it to you, you're meant to spend a lot of time alone. because you're supposed to be developing yourself. That's that first house, so that you could go back and give it to the world. You belong. I don't want to say you belong to the world in a sense where you should be shape shifting, but you're supposed to get yourself together so that when you go out into the world, you come correct. And I don't want to say you've been coming incorrect, because this is your process. This is life. But from an astrological point of view, the things that you're fighting for, baby, the karma, it's not your karmic mission in this lifetime. You're supposed to develop yourself and focus on yourself, and then just go share with the world. But I get it. She got that Cancer in the 10th house, and that's what be messing her up. Because when you down to the work office in the cubicle, you want to be BFFs, and these people like, bitch, we got to get this money. I get it. I truly empathize with her. Like I said, we have similar charts in a sense, but you got to have those epiphanies so that wisdom can roll in and you can apply it accordingly, so that you can move accordingly until you can move on your own accord. Her having a Virgo rising, that makes a lot of sense, because Amanda don't look like she ever ages. She is gorgeous. I was saying that when I was looking at her interview with Shannon Sharp. I'm like, she is a really attractive woman. That Virgo rising, along with her having that Chiron in Taurus, she definitely has to do a lot of work when it comes to her self-worth and her sense of self and self-esteem. So yeah, that's that. When it comes to her transits, upcoming transits, just real quick before we get to Issa's chart, I'm interested to see what Jupiter entering Gemini next month is going to do for Amanda over the next year. Jupiter will be in the same sign as her Mars, Mercury, and Midhaven, and at one point it's going to conjunct all three of these placements. Jupiter can be a benefit. It could be a benefactor for her in a sense where she may see what do you call that, like a spike in success, or just getting a lot of public recognition. Additionally, because you always have to look at what the natal Jupiter is doing. Her natal Jupiter is in Libra and is conjunct Saturn. Right now, the transit in South Node is in Libra. So transit in South Node deals with necessary detachment and endings. And once again, that's happening in her first house. So if she doesn't learn how to bend a little bit and be a bit flexible, you're not always right and you're not always wrong. But if she doesn't find that middle ground, she may kind of fumble this Jupiter in Gemini transit, because you got to be working with your natal planets in a way that leaves room to receive those blessings from them transit planets. So that will be interesting. And then like I said, she got this South Node in the first house. She got this North Node in the 7th house. And that North Node in the 7th house can deal with why she's gotten into it so much online when it comes to her peers and what they're saying about her. And even her having Saturn in the 6th house. Saturn is going to be in her 6th house until 2026. So Amanda's not 100% out the woods when it comes to like her work environment and the work that she does every day, because having Saturn in that 6th house, it can definitely make you feel restricted. And then especially with Pisces being there, and Pisces dealing with creativity and like imagination and arts and all of that stuff, she may still have a bit of issues. So yeah, that's that. Another thing I also wanted to mention before I get to Issa's chart is that Saturn is about to be making an opposition to her ascendant. And this is what I mean. When you have transiting Saturn, which is in Pisces, creating an opposition to your ascendant, and in this case, her ascendant is in Virgo, this is a period where Saturn is asking you to look at the attributes of your personality and how you're showing up, and make the needed adjustments so that those limitations and restrictions on the things that you want can begin to lift and work in your favor. So Amanda's never going to be able, I don't care how many people jump in your comments and sing you sweet nothings. You're not going to be able to escape the karma of your chart. It's just not going to happen. And that's why, to me, it's always a little comical when people, how do you say it? It's just always comical to me when you could just see things from a different point of view and you're just like, okay, whatever. Because it's the same thing with Megan Thee Stallion. Y'all see Megan Thee Stallion got that lawsuit thing going on, and I'm like, I'm not surprised. She has a Saturn in Pisces creating a square to Jupiter and Sagittarius. Until she works on being a intentionally, authentically good person with integrity, she ain't never gonna know peace. I don't care how many people you pay off, how many people you get to post good things about you. You can't outrun what the universe has for you. You just can't. So it just is what it is. But back to the reading. Okay, so now on to Issa, from the crab to the goat, baby. Now, let me tell you something. 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 This was bound to happen between Issa Rae and Amanda Seales. Number one, Issa Rae has her sun conjunct her Jupiter, conjunct her midhaven. Okay, so her 10th house starts at the 27th degree of Capricorn, which is cool because that's the natural home of Capricorn. But then she has her sun conjunct Jupiter in Capricorn in that 9th house. But all three of these planets conjunct one another. So her sun is conjunct her midhaven, her Jupiter is conjunct her midhaven, her sun is conjunct her Jupiter, and all that good stuff. Now the good news for Issa is, especially with her having that Jupiter in the 9th house of Capricorn, that's why she's the GOAT. That's why she does so well in entrepreneurship. I think Amanda Seales says she signed $100 million production deal. Shout outs to her for that. I may be late, but it's okay. That definitely speaks to that because the 9th house is naturally home to Sagittarius, which is governed by Jupiter. So even though Jupiter may be in a bit of a detriment in Capricorn because Jupiter doesn't do well in Capricorn, and the reason for that is because Jupiter is a joyful planet. It's about optimism and wisdom and traveling and learning. It's generous, it's flexible. And then you put Capricorn there, and Capricorn does not do well there because Capricorn is naturally governed by Saturn, which is a bit more about structure and discipline and can be a bit rigid and status quo. And I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm going to give you what you need, and you go and get what you want. Whereas Jupiter is like the uncle that's like, I'm back from Paris. Here you are, $100 bills for everyone. So it's interesting. So with her having her sun there and in Jupiter, this speaks to her having a big impact on the culture because the 9th house also deals with culture as well. Now, the reason why I say that this was bound, like, the situation where her and Amanda Seales was bound to happen is because they have two different life paths. And I know that sounds so cliche and simple, but just looking at their charts, Issa Rae is here to play the game and stay in her place. Let's just call it what it is. Issa Rae is the Taurus North Node. Now, if she has Scorpio on the North Node, it would be different, but no, she's a Taurus North Node. In this lifetime, and then she's a Taurus rising, and then her moon is in Libra. In this lifetime, Issa needs to be light. She needs to be light. She needs to keep her network tight. And because of that Capricorn energy, and then it's that 22 degrees, this is the degree in astrology where we say be kill or be killed. She's cutthroat. Issa Rae is cutthroat. If she has to cut you or slash you to make sure that her shit stays intact, and this is my astrological interpretation and opinion, I believe that she will do what she needs to do to make sure that happens. I do. Her having her son at the 22nd degree of Capricorn, she came up under some rigid parenting. She did, without a doubt. She did, without a doubt. I don't know if she talks about her paternal figure, but her mom probably was more passive to a certain extent. But that 22-degree Capricorn energy, and then it's conjunct that Jupiter in Capricorn, she definitely came up. She had to struggle. She struggled to get to where she was at. She has worked very hard to get to where she was at. And then it's like, even having that Taurus North node, and she has it in the first house, Issa has a right to be selfish in this lifetime. That doesn't mean that like she can mistreat people, or the way that she has made Amanda Seales feel is justified. But here's the context behind it. In this lifetime, it really is Issa Rae's right to develop her confidence and sense of self and self-worth, because it's not lost on me that not only is she a Taurus North node, but she has it in the first house. So yeah, she definitely, and then her Chiron is there. Oh hell yeah. Oh hell yeah. She has a Chiron. Oh, her Chiron is in Gemini. Oh, okay. But it's still almost conjunct that North node. But hell yeah. With her Chiron being in the first house, and then with her North node being in Taurus, which deals with our sense of self-worth in that first house, and the first house is literally who we are and how we relate to ourselves. Yeah, Issa's karmic duty in this lifetime is to develop her sense of self, and then stand on that shit selfishly. The way in which she gives back, though, which is interesting, is this Venus conjunct Mars in Pisces in that 11th house. And this is actually good when you think about it, because Pisces deals with film. So this deals with her being passionate and finding comfort and success and abundance in the film industry. But her having it in the 11th house also deals with her being passionate about networking. Didn't Amanda Seales say that the way her and Issa corrected was that she did some show called Get Your Life, and she paid for it and did everything, but Issa Rae allowed her to upload it to her platform, and then it ended up getting a lot of eyes on her. So yeah, Issa Rae, maybe she got an astrologer, because her chart aligns with what we see in the public, and Amanda's chart aligns too, but I see more untapped potential and energy in Amanda's chart than I do in Issa's chart. Issa is literally doing everything that we see in front of us. This is an easy read. But she is a Capricorn. They're pretty simple and predictable. So, and then she got that Taurus energy. So yeah, but now what I will say, with the Venus and Pisces, that can make Issa be perceived as someone who's wishy-washy, because Pisces got the heads that go two ways. And even that Mars and Pisces, having Mars in a mutable, Issa definitely can get it popping if she really wanted to. Issa probably behind closed doors, especially because Pisces deals with privacy. Mama probably gets active if you bring that out of her. And dare I say, because she got that Mars in the 11th house, but it is in Pisces, maybe she is passive aggressive. Maybe there are people that have worked with her or have experienced her that can be like she has this passive aggressive undertone to her. That I can see as well. And interestingly enough, getting to the transit portion of Issa's chart before we get into the synastry, the North Node is currently in Issa's 12th house. The 12th house, which is home to Pisces, deals with what's hidden. It also deals with hidden enemies. It also deals with secrets. So I find it interesting that North Node is there, and now these stories is coming about your friends and people that you have worked with in the public. So that's interesting, because that South Node is sitting in her 6th house right now, where that moon is and where that Pluto is. So I don't know. And as that South Node clicks down and conjuncts that moon, there is going to be more stuff that's going to be said about Issa. There is. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be bad, But that South Node hitting that moon, and the moon dealing with our private life, our subconscious, and then Libra dealing with relationships, contracts, and agreements, there's going to be some things said. There's definitely going to be some things said, especially with that North Node in that 12th house. And with her having Aries in the 12th house, Issa Rae is definitely passive aggressive, which is fine. I mean, I got Aries in the 4th. I'm working on it too, but I'm just saying. But Pluto is now in Issa's 10th house. And this may be a period, because I heard that she's going independent, because she says she's done trying to force people to make the things and the stories that she wants to see. I can see her blowing up again on the internet, because Aquarius deals with the internet, Pluto being in the 10th house. I could see her reconfiguring her legacy with another layer where she returns to the internet and sparks success there. So that would be interesting to see, and congratulations in advance. I'm being told to tell her congratulations in advance. She's gonna present something else too. With that South Node being conjunct as Moon and Libra, this can be a time, because it is in the 6th house, where she reveals something that she's been working on. So I just wanted to note that as well. So yeah, boo. Let's get to the Synastry, and then we will get out of here. So I guess I'll leave Issa's chart up. Where do I want to start? So Amanda's sun and moon falls in Issa's 3rd house. So I can see, because Amanda said that they were really cool, I actually can see Issa seeing her as a little sister, especially with it creating an opposition to her son. And I'm intuitively hearing that because Issa's a Capricorn, more often than not, she was forced to grow up quicker, mature quicker in some form, take on responsibility very early on. And I can see it being a situation where Issa's inability to, because Issa is a Libra moon, and that's another thing. Libra moons usually, first of all, they don't like to pick sides. They're fence riders. But on top of that, they don't always do well, especially in this combination with her being a Capricorn sun and a Libra moon. They don't really do well with considering and helping others to process their emotions, because they don't even know how to process and consider their own emotions. And I'm not trying to drag, it just is what it is. But I intuitively get that with Issa, it was a situation where it was like, okay, we were cool when we met. You are creative, you are talented, whatever the case may be. But now you're starting to become an added responsibility, to where it's like, okay, I can pour into you. I can see to it that you have this and that. But what is that doing for me? It's taking more from me than it would be on what you're getting, if that makes sense. So there's that with that. The other thing is that it's not lost on me that Amanda's Chiron in Taurus, if I'm not mistaken, let me just double check that before I say it. Yep, Amanda's Chiron at the 21st degree in Taurus is conjunct Issa's North Node at the 24th degree in Taurus in that 1st house. I think that there's some validity to what Amanda Seales said. And I don't even think Amanda Seales said this. There's people running with this narrative that one of the reasons why Amanda Seales may have not been received well by the other women on the Insecure cast is because she's a pretty light-skinned girl, and in tandem with her already playing into the stereotypes on the show, and then her just kind of having a not so likable, like she's an acquired taste, right? It could have triggered some insecurities within Issa, because people brought up the fact that when Issa first was pitching Insecure to HBO, they tried to get Lauren London to play the role, and Issa Rae had made a comment and said something like Lil Wayne's baby mama. And Lauren London rightfully so felt the way, but Nipsey Hussle was the one that bridged the gap between the two women, and they were able to have a conversation about it. And I would not be surprised if Issa, being a dark-skinned black woman naturally growing up in America, um did, I'm not saying she currently does, but did have a complex about how she looks and how she shows up, on top of the fact that it's like, why would you try to get a light-skinned woman to play something that is based off of me and my experience as a dark-skinned woman? Etha's frustration was 100% valid, but I say all of that to say it's very possible, despite Amanda being who she is, she really was triggering some insecurities within Issa Rae. It's very possible that she could have been triggering some insecurities within Issa Rae. So I find that to be interesting. I find that to be very interesting. And then it's just like, even with Issa Rae having her Chiron and Gemini, she may have some neurodivergency as well. Most creatives do. So I also get this energy too, when you're not ready to face or see certain things in yourself, and then you have someone that's holding that mirror up unintentionally, sometimes it could create a space where you just want to create distance because you're not ready to look at those parts of yourself. So I think that's interesting. um Amanda's south node is in Issa's fourth house. No, Amanda's north node is in Issa's fourth house, and her south node is in the 10th. Once again, reinforcing what I just said. The fourth house is our subconscious. It's our private life. So for Amanda's north node to be there, and then for Issa to have Leo, I feel like, and I could relate to this because I've gone through this too, where on the surface it looks like opposites attract, but there's a lot of like and similarity between the two things that's attracting. And sometimes people see your ability to house similar qualities as them in a more courageous way, and it bothers them. Astrology is so cool. Astrology is so cool because Aquarius in the 10th house, that's Issa Rae all day, but I could just see Amanda Seales being like, bitch, stop playing with me, because I know you be in this Leo in the 4th house bag behind the closed doors. So I can see that too. I can see that too. Amanda's ascendant falling into Issa's 5th house. They really did fuck with each other. Aw, I hope they're able to get it together. This is actually making me a little disheartened looking at this chart, because I could see how they was friends and how they were cool. I just think it's a lack of, on both ends, their inability to effectively listen, communicate, and then meet in the middle. But I think more so on Issa's end, because she's a bit more grounded with all her earth energy, and she's a bit more money and business minded. If it don't make money, it don't make sense. Get the fuck out my face with all that crying. Whereas Amanda's like, but if it doesn't make sense, then how are we gonna make money? Like, I just think that this was just, yeah, this was just bound to happen. And then it's just like, with Issa having that Saturn and Scorpio, Issa done been through some shit. And it's conjunct that Scorpio South Node. Issa done been through some shit. She done been through some shit. And I don't want to say it made her hard, but it just makes her able to move through ish better, to where Amanda Seales, she'll just get fixated. She'll get fixated on something. And it's interesting because Issa has Saturn in the 7th house. So a lot of her lessons in this life are going to come from the relationship she's had, but it creates an exact opposition to that north node in the 1st house. So it's interesting. It's a thing where it's like, work on yourself and have your sense of self, but just don't have it be defined by your relationships. So that's interesting. And Issa having that Scorpio in the 7th house deals with her having powerful relationships. Even with that Pluto in the 6th, once again, powerful connections in the workplace. So yeah. So that's pretty much it. I could go on and on and on and on, but I don't want to keep y'all in here too long. Don't worry, this will be time stamped. And yeah, thank you so much for clicking on the video. If you would like to book your own personal consultation with me, be sure to see my booking site that's pinned in the comments as well as the description box. And if you have questions, be sure to shoot me an email, which is also pinned in the comments in the description box, and I will respond right away. Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.